right, welcome everybody. It's two dudes, two drinks. This is the second bonus episode we're doing today. This was not planned originally, right, Steve? We weren't planning on this.
Unplanned, spur of the moment,
Spur of the
spontaneous.
moment, but all the stuff that's gone on in New York sports and national sports the last 5, 6 days, we felt like we needed to get together for our fans, for our audience. As you know, I'm Marino, that's Steve, and we have update guy Paul. Me and Steve are the two dudes, two drinks. Just to clarify. Now,
I mean, we're doing this for you guys, basically. This is for our fans. This is a bonus episode for the fans. So you're welcome.
I agree. I agree. And we also appreciate all your feedback from the first episode. We appreciate the 190 YouTube views. Remember, we're going to give you other ways to find us at the end of the episode today. But we have plenty of ways. We're going to have plenty of ways, like I said, plenty of ways to get in touch with us and get in contact. We appreciate everything you guys said to us, the tweets. We appreciate you coming at us, especially Steve, the villain Giant fan that he is, the villain two Giant fans that he is. So
with pleasure.
We're not going to address the feedback as much now, but just say that we appreciate it. But this is a quicker episode, so we don't want to get into we'll address what you guys said about the Eli Manning debate in our next full episode. But today, real quick before we jump in, look what I got, Steve. A Yeti.
Yeti.
But you're not going to like this part of it. What's that symbol right there?
That's the New York Stinky symbol right there.
Yankees. What do you got? And I got you know what I got to drink it. I don't need to tell you twice. You know what's in there.
I got my Maker's Mark, sponsored by Maker's Mark.
Oh wow! All right, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, guy, Paul, did you throw a drink in today?
Yeah,
or no?
I have my Jack Daniels and a little soda mixed in.
All right, we got a lot to talk. We got baseball. I think we're hitting 3 out of 4 major sports. We got baseball, basketball, and football. We're going to address today. So, Paul,
can I make a quick interruption?
Go right ahead.
What's up with the intro? Like, why does it have to be Giants themed? Like,
I heard a Met. I heard Mike Piazza's
I hear Mets.
Mike Piazza. You have Jeter's 3,000 hit, and then you got the Giants Super Bowl.
All right, it just everything with a Giants Super Bowl. It just like it
triggers you.
It irks me. You know what I'm saying?
I think it triggers him. He was really upset today, Paul, when we were texting. You heard him.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, what about the stats?"
Yeah, the glory versus stats. And
we're gonna get into that later.
Yeah.
It's contradictory of what he argued in the last episode, but that's neither here nor now.
I want to get back to that. I think we're gonna have to do an Eli Manning debate part 2 because that debate, even the people commenting on YouTube and Twitter are really going at it. A lot of people went at Steve too. He definitely played the villain in that episode.
Come at me. I'll prepare.
And please feel free to go back to YouTube or Spotify or buzzsprout.com and find our episode, and you can always make comments.
Buzzsprout.
All right.
Like
so Paul, get us into today's update. It's just going to be an update today. We're not going to debate necessarily today. Just a quick update with the world of sports. So Paul, get us going.
Yeah, it was a lively week, and I trying to keep up with it as I was making the script. Making our update script. I had to keep adding to it as things happen. It's funny. I feel like the last week, our last episode, we were like, oh, there's really not a lot going on, and then like Thursday, Friday into the weekend, it exploded. So yeah, we'll start off with baseball. We'll cover some of the baseball news. Then we'll look at the NBA, and then we'll finish off with the NFL because I know that both of you have some comments to make on the end. But what I'll do is I'll give you the update and for each piece of news, and if you want to comment on it or go with it, we can. If not, we can move on. So the first piece of news in Major League Baseball for the Yankee fans, the Yankees did re-sign DJ Lemahieu. We talked about this last week. You played the Crickets. We said, where are the Yankees? Well, Cashman did it. 6 years, $90 million. Just some quick stats from last year, and then you guys can talk about this. LeMahieu last year finished 3rd in the American League MVP voting, won the AL batting title with an MLB leading 364 average. And obviously that was during a shortened season last year. He's just the 4th player in Yankees history to lead the majors in that category. And the other 3 were Mickey Mantle, DiMaggio, and Lou Gehrig. So he had an elite year, and he's up there with elite players. Now, it was a shorter season, so obviously if you want to add an asterisk to it, you can, but I think, that's up to you. So that's the first piece of news.
Steve, Paul, why don't you tell us about the other Yankee signing, though, too?
Okay, we'll do all the Yankees then. Okay. So then we have the Yankees also signed Corey Kluber, which I was very excited
about. Time out. Paul is like, I think he has a shrine to him in his house somewhere.
And honestly, like, debatable whether, I guess actually it was a good deal. But basically what happened was he had a scouting workout in Florida on Wednesday the 13th. So that would have been last Wednesday now. So over a week ago. And apparently it was super impressive. Like every team, a lot of teams were really interested. According to ESPN's Buster Olney, several teams became immediately interested like that night. And the New York Yankees were kind of a fit for him. So Kluber signed a 1-year deal for $11 million. And he was willing to sign that 1-year deal because he wants to go out and prove himself. Because a lot of teams probably didn't want to sign him for a long-term deal. He has been injury prone the last 2 years. So.
Can I interrupt you guys?
It's all you now.
Jump in first. Talk about this.
Your guys' enthusiasm is pissing me off for a few reasons. I mean, okay, so yeah, you guys are excited about Kluber. You guys are excited about DJ, and that's all fun and games. But tone it down a notch. You know what I'm saying?
You were excited about Lindor.
All right, listen, you guys got a good deal with DJ. 6 years, $90 million, like you said. That's cut rate. It's a great price. You said he ended the season with a 3.64 batting average. highest in AL. Great. But all that stuff was in a shortened season. So I mean, show me. Honestly, I don't even. Maybe you guys can chime in on this. I don't even know if it's going to be a full season this year. But the fact of the matter is that all that stuff that they did was on a shortened season. No fans in the stadium. I mean, asterisk. I mean,
but he did it the year before also, so that's why I'm not worried.
No, not.
Here we go.
He's not going to repeat what he did last year.
But he did it in 2019.
No, he was not leading the league, and he was
Didn't he finish second in the batting title in 2019 to Tim Anderson Jr., my boy?
No,
from the South Side. Yes, he was, Paul, wasn't he?
In 2019,
I'm pretty sure DJ was second in the league in batting title that year, or third.
I believe so.
Finished right behind Tim Anderson, who's a great.
Okay. If you want to look that up and prove me wrong, then just double check it. As far as Kluber, I know he's got 2 Cy Young awards, but he's super injury prone. Knowing the Yankees, he's going to be sitting on a bench next to Judge and Mike.
Who's Mike?
Mike Stanton.
You mean Giancarlo?
Giancarlo Stanton. So it's a risk. It's kind of one of those risk reward kind of things.
I agree with you.
So just he batted 327 in 2019,
and he was right behind. I'm pretty sure he was right behind Tim Anderson. I remember that season pretty well.
Placed fourth in AL MVP.
Fourth in MVP. He was great. He's good. He's always been good. I'm not worried about.
He's solid. But again, they're signing him off a shortened season. That's what I'm saying.
No, I don't. Anyway, we'll get to DJ in a second. Kluber, I agree with you, Steve. He is a risk. I do like the signing, though. I'd rather have Kluber, than trying to go with these rookies and these bullpen games. I hate bullpen games. I despise them. They're a disgrace to the game. They're automatically click the mic off. I'm not the mic, the TV off. I hate bullpen games. Of course, thank Tampa, thank Oakland, as always. The crappy organizations always come up with low-rate ideas. They probably give out dollar hot dogs too at their stadiums.
What? So you're saying you don't like baseball games that get into the bullpen? Is that what you're saying?
No, the games that start with the bullpen games that start with the first inning out of the bullpen.
Okay.
It's openers, bullpens. I don't know the difference. I don't care.
So you're saying you don't like games where the pitcher gets shelled in the first inning?
No. I'm talking those games where they go with the plan where they're going to start with a reliever for an inning or two, like Chad Green.
Oh well, that's like a new.
It's You know it, Steve. You grew up in a different era like me. Paul's from the era of bullpens and everybody gets a trophy. So
Yeah.
But anyway, Kluber. I don't know. I'd rather have Kluber. Listen. A trainer supposedly said that his tear is much improved. It shouldn't tear again. Why am I saying that out loud? But anyway, that's what the trainer said. Now, DJ, this is
definitely not going to get hurt. 100%.
This is where we got to argue. DJ Lemahieu is a professional hitter, and Steve is only mad because he wanted the Mets to get him. I saw.
I do. Yeah.
We're gonna get DJ.
I'm not hating on DJ. I'm not hating on DJ. He's a good player. I would have liked to get him as a Mets. I honestly think the Mets messed up by not getting him. I think though. I think that in his heart, I think that DJ wanted to be a Yankee. I don't think if the Mets offered him a little bit more money, then he would have taken it. But I would have loved for the Mets to take him because it would have made a lot of waves. You know, the Mets would have made like a power move. That would have been a power move getting DJ.
No, it would have been, but they didn't do it. And
yeah,
it just.
I think he wants to be a Yankee though. Like in his heart, I think DJ wants to be a Yankee.
I mean, the Yankees are a great organization,
Mike. So yeah, that's interesting because everything I read said like Cashman got a steal with this.
You did. Well,
so why was DJ holding out, and like why was he willing? Like I think DJ Lemahieu could have gotten more. I mean, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing: the age is what people are scaring people, but here's what I compare him to. I mean, they are a little bit of a different player because this guy's a switch hitter. DJ's just a righty, but he reminds me of Ben Zobrist. They just get on base constantly. They get a lot of hits, and they're both very versatile. And I think Ben Zobrist plays the outfield too, or did. He's retired now. And just to know, Ben Zobrist did not retire because of injury. He retired because of a family issue, and I think COVID and everything. So
there was never any holding out by DJ. I never heard any reports on that.
No, but here's the thing.
They just didn't sign it
yet. He was talking to other teams.
He was talking to LA. LA supposedly was in the market, but you never know. You know, we don't know what's going on.
I think that DJ was in the Bahamas just being like, yeah, whatever, make me an offer, knowing in his heart that he was going to just sign with the Yankees again. You know what I mean?
So I want to compare him to Ben Zobrist. I mean, you can't ever predict injuries. Anybody can blow their knee out and their career could be over. That's like, anything. But if he has the kind of production that Zobrist did, Zobrist in his age 37 season hit 307. If DJ does that in 6 years, this contract or in 5 years, I think he'll be 37. That's worth it. It's one of those things where, you know what, you might pay on the high end and up a lot at the end, but who cares? If he gets us a World Series title, helps us get a World Series title, if he continues to be productive, this contract is completely worth it. Cashman did a great job getting him back on the Yankees.
You can't go wrong with that.
Mazel tov to them.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
Also, just you guys both mentioned about the new season being short again. I thought that, but now with all these signings and all the money moving around right now, I have a feeling
it's going to happen.
They're anticipating a normal season. It's what it seems like.
It's going to happen. They're going to get a normal season, and if not, they'll just make up games later. They're figuring it out. They figured it out last year. They figured it out this year.
I'm hearing that they're not going to start the spring break till like April or March.
Training? I don't know.
Spring training, yeah.
I think you heard that on the WFN message board.
No, I mean, so right there, that tells me that's not going to be a regular.
I don't know. We'll see, but whatever. It's going to be a good season either way for the Yankees. That's all that matters. So
any year that is not exactly how it's supposed to be, where spring training starts on this day, and catchers and pitchers and all that, it needs to be exactly like a baseball season for me. For it to be a real season.
It's pure.
None of this spring training cut in half. And
if they cut spring training, you're going to be mad because less spring training games?
Yes, because it's not a real baseball season.
Spring training? Oh, so you're going to be mad that, there was not – Paul Marino, the sixth-string shortstop, didn't get to play a doubleheader today. That's really sad. Like, who cares?
No, spring training is important for baseball because they get there, they get their stretches out, they get used to throwing again. It's important. We're not talking about NFL preseason here. We're talking about spring training.
I'm not agreeing that it's not important, but you can this conversation is weird. All right, anyway. Well, go to the next. Let's go to
we have Mets next. We have the Mets.
Oh, Mets. Yeah, Mets.
Let's start off with the missing signings. We'll talk about the GM. So the Mets missed out on George Springer and Michael Brantley. I say missed out. I don't mean this in like, they missed out. I'm not trying to poke fun because they did just get Lindor. But according to the New York Post, the Mets let Springer's camp know over last weekend that they were willing to go 6 years at $120 million, but no further. At that point, the Mets were pretty much out of contention as Springer headed towards a 6-year, $150 million pact with the Blue Jays. And Michael Brantley, just we'll get both out of the way, the Astros ended up signing Brantley to a 2-year, $32 million contract, putting to rest the rumors that he was going to the Blue Jays. Do you guys think, this is for both of you, did the Mets miss out on these guys?
Met fan, you want to take that first?
I think the Mets missed out on Springer. So, I mean, that to me was the first little kink in the armor of the Steve Cohen error. I really think they should have got him. Like the Mets, to me, the Mets haggled, and the Blue Jays.
But can I say something?
Made a power move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but can I say the Cohen thing? I read that I thought was interesting. Like, he's also not going to make. You also have to judge him based on like whether he's making a smart contract move. Like a lot of people said, Springer isn't worth that money. So was it a smart move then?
I mean, Mets need an outfielder. So who's that outfielder going to be? You know what I'm saying? They need somebody.
I take your point. I just as a Yankees fan, Mark knows this. We've seen a lot of bad contracts, so I can understand where Cohen's thinking maybe
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like all like, oh my God, the world's ending, because we didn't get Springer, but it would have been nice. It would have been nice to get him,
What I think? Here's why I would have signed them as the Mets. First of all, I thought Steve Cohen was Mr. Money Bags and going to spend money on everything, but whatever. You don't want to make dumb contracts, and he's got a lot. I mean, DJ Lemahieu contract was much better. The reason why I would have gotten Springer if I was the Mets, even though he was on a team that cheated to win a World Series, I actually do like Springer. Out of all those guys, I do like Springer. I hate Altuve. Don't get me started. I can't stand Bregman and Correa. I don't have nice things to say about Carlos Correa either. He was not apologetic at all last year. And the Astros got lucky without fans in the stands last year. It's still annoying me.
Astros are garbage.
Yeah, but he comes from a team that won. And you want to start winning in the Mets organization. They haven't won much in the last 5-6 years, except for like 5 years ago. But the last decade, they haven't won a lot. You got to bring in winning players. You build a culture. Lindor's, he's had some victories. Lindor's been in the World Series. That's good. Springer would have been nice icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Now, was he worth the money? That's not for me to say. And you never know how these contracts are going to play out. We don't know. Springer's been relatively healthy, I think, in his career.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a local guy.
Good player. But again, like I said,
softball, I just saw it too. Interesting family pedigree. Sister plays softball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I just saw it on Google real quick.
Like college softball?
Yeah, I think she played collegiately. Yeah.
She a pitcher like the windmill, like.
Looked like she was pitching in the picture I saw. Yeah, doing that windmill. Steve's a big softball player, Paul.
Yeah, that's great. I drop bombs, lefty bombs.
Yeah, supposedly. We'll see. We got to go out there one day and watch him.
Probably injury prone.
Yeah. No way. I have soft ankles. I've rolled my ankles a few times playing. You know what I mean? But other than that, I'm good. Strong like
we want the other Mets news.
Well, hold on. The Brantley move. Let me just say, Brantley. I don't sign him because he's been injured a lot in his career. But Brantley is a great professional hitter. Great hitter. I like Brantley, but I also am scared of him because of the injuries. But he went back to Houston, so stay down there in good old cheating Houston. But we'll have to have an episode on the Astros one day where we just ripped them apart.
Yeah, I agree with exactly what you said. I'm good. I'm good with any Astros players, especially Astros players that are injury prone. Bye.
Yeah, Brantley's been injured a lot in his career. When he was on the Cleveland team, he was injured a lot.
So. Stay where you are, my friend. Stay where you are.
All right. Paul, what's the other Met news? It was in the news.
More controversial Mets news.
Remember, guys, hold on, Paul, before you get into it, there's a kid's show.
Yes, I understand.
Let's watch the
Mets,
language, please.
This is a kid's show, yeah. Mets GM Jared Porter was fired on Tuesday after ESPN reported that Jared Porter sent explicit, unsolicited texts and images to a female reporter in 2016, culminating with a picture of his you-know-what, according to a copy of the text history obtained by ESPN. The woman, I'll give you the whole thing here, a foreign correspondent who had moved to the United States to cover Major League Baseball, said at one point she ignored more than 60 messages from Porter. This guy was desperate. Before he sent the final lewd photo, the text relationship started casually before Porter, then the Chicago Cubs director of professional scouting, began complimenting her appearance, inviting her to meet him in various cities, and asking why she was ignoring him. And the text show she had stopped responding to Porter after he sent a photo of his pants and other things like that. In the article, I read the whole thing. Like they have some of the text messages and pictures, and definitely interesting. So, thoughts on this whole thing? I guess for Steve, as the Mets fan, is this the most Mets thing ever again?
Just typical Mets. You know what I mean? Like, you're telling me the Mets just found this out, like it was brand new news, like a couple of days ago. Like this wasn't like, come on, the Mets were the first people to know about this. Like the other organizations that he was part of didn't know about this. I call bullshit.
I don't think they did.
I mean, come on, man, come on. I don't believe it. And as far as him, I mean, I think that Cohen did the right thing, which was to get rid of him immediately. The Wilpons would have, let the Mets be like the butt of everyone's joke for like 2 weeks before they fired him. I think. Like what kind of, I mean, to me, I think he needs to get psychological help because no one in their right mind sends 60 unanswered texts to somebody and unanswered Brajeau picks. Like, who does that? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's obviously not right in his head. Like, I'm glad he doesn't have any kids, because if I was his kid, I would be mortified that looking at my dad and seeing this in the newspapers. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny?
I mean,
I remember he was on WFAN, and you know who asked him, afternoon host asked him, "Oh, you got to bring back bacon on a stick at Citi Field," and he's like, "Sure, we'll do it." Yeah.
yeah.
Not to get too gross, but come on, man. I don't know much to say about it. The Mets did the right thing. They got rid of him. They eliminated him. I like how Steve Cohen got on it right away. No nonsense for looking into it. He just said, "We're gone. We're changing our culture here." He's out. So Mets were out a GM, but Sandy's really the GM there, so it doesn't matter.
What a shame, though. The guy blew an opportunity. I'm sure he's making bank at that job, and now he's pretty much going to be working at Subway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not getting a job in sports again, so he's done.
Yeah, totally. What a end to a career. He's like the Anthony Weiner of baseball.
I just think the crazy part is that he was sending, like, she wasn't even responding. So then you send these pictures, and it's like, why would you do that? Like, I don't know. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's so like what was his frame of mind?
Like, if there was already a conversation constantly taking place between them and sending pictures, then it's different. But the fact that she wasn't responding to anything and he's still sending her pictures, it's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah,
it's embarrassing.
Like, all right, he's like, this is the one that's going to get her to respond back to me. A picture of this,
Yeah.
Like, what a dirtbag.
Okay, so you want to move on to NBA?
I don't have much to say about that. We all know.
Absolutely. Let's move on.
Okay,
Please.
NBA. Strictly because of this, the Brooklyn Nets acquired James Harden. He is now a Net. This happened last week. Massive blockbuster trade, with the Nets ultimately giving away 3 first-round draft picks over a couple of years, and some of their younger future players, and a lot more. Like, I couldn't even. I copied the entire thing onto my list here, and I was like, I'm not even reading how much they actually gave away. It was absurd. A lot of mixed feelings from Nets fans. I mean, basically, like, they have to win now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have to win now. Maybe it's because I'm a Knicks fan, and many years they haven't won. But I'm getting disenchanted with the NBA. These guys all pile up on one team. It's like a bunch of kids out in the high school playground. The 5 best players play against the 2 worst players, or something like that. 5 worst players. I don't know. I get disenchanted because in my era, Steve's era, when Jordan struggled to beat the Pistons and the Celtics and the Lakers, he didn't go, I'm going to go play with them now. No, he kept grinding and tried to beat them. Patrick Ewing, when he lost to the Bulls all those years, he'd go, I'm going to go sign with the Bulls right now. These guys are it's just too much friendliness. It's like pickup game out there. I'm disenchanted with this, but good for the Nets, good for New York, good for Brooklyn. I'm not the Nets. I don't look at them like I look at the Mets and Jets. I don't consider them like a team I want to see lose. No offense. I love when the Jets and Mets lose, but if the Brooklyn Nets won a championship, I wouldn't be like jumping up and down, but I'd be happy for them, but it wouldn't be happy for long. I'd be like, oh, they won. Great. And then move on. It wouldn't be anything great. Whereas if the Jets win a Super Bowl, I'm going to be slamming stuff down and breaking things because I'm going to be mad that they won.
Wow.
So, yeah, same with the Mets. I was rooting hard for the Mets to lose against the Royals, and I got my wish.
Wow.
So the Nets, good for them. But like I said, there's another mark on the NBA that I know, Paul, you say the kids love it, whatever, but not the TV ratings aren't loving it. And I think people are sick of this stuff where everyone just goes to one team and plays.
All that my middle schoolers, it's the only sport where they root for teams of other cities. And you know what it is? I do agree. They root for players. They don't really root for teams. That's where it's
always been that way, though.
But let me tell you, social media, NBA is huge on social media.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't make me want to watch a league, Paul.
And but it's not all about TV ratings. They make money off of
it. Doesn't make me. I'm not talking about.
Right.
Me as a fan, I want to watch a good team in my city. I don't care about the LA Lakers.
No, I agree.
Wizards or I want to watch the Knicks. And Brooklyn being good is cool, but I don't know. Steve, what do you think? I know you're happy about this trade.
I don't understand why every argument you always got to bring in the Mets and the Jets. Like, why do you got to do that for?
We're talking about the Nets right now. We're talking about the Mets.
Yeah, but you brought out the Mets and the Jets.
I was doing it for a comparison to compare how I feel about the Nets compared to the Mets and Jets. I don't care about that.
Sensitive.
He's very sensitive today, Paul. Jeez.
Tired of the selfishness. It's all about you. You know what I mean? Listen. the Nets have 3 like all-stars on their team, like straight up knockdown all-stars. They still lost to the Cavaliers last night. So I mean,
Lost an OT, like double OT, right?
yeah. So does it make them invincible? No. You know what I mean? Like, am I tired of the NBA doing that? Yeah. I feel like it's easier to do these days than it was back in the day. I feel like it's just looser and players can just go from team to team without, I feel like just like the contracts and negotiations are looser. I could be wrong, but I feel like back in like the Ewing days, like Ewing just couldn't be like, trade me to Charlotte or trade me to like Detroit or something like that. I don't. And I say, screw it. If they can do it, do it. The NBA to me is not even competitive anymore. It's just like, it's like friends playing like pickup games. Like people saying, like like players from opposing teams, like talking to each other during the game, giving each other, like helping each other up and stuff like that. I would never do that. Back when I played sports, I would never help a player on another team. If that player fell down in front of me, I'd be like, all right, get up yourself. I would never help another player up. That shit just pisses me off.
Tell Paul what you hate the most about sports, and typically it's in basketball.
I just think
the free throw thing.
Yeah, well, we talked about that the first episode.
The hand, they all shake.
Nothing more annoying than that. Like, what the hell is that? Like, you can like airball a free shot, a free throw, and then you're still giving people high five. Like, I don't want to give you high five. Make the damn shots. You know who's really horrible at free throws is Yannis. He's horrible at free throws.
That's a Greek freak.
Yeah, really bad at free throws. I was watching the game with him the other day, and they were talking about it as he was on a free throw, and then he airballed some. He has like that awkward shot. You know how some people are like smooth. Like he's like all like, you know what I mean? Like he's awkward. He's like, they were comparing him to Shaq as far as like free throws go. But where was I? Harden is, say what you want about him, but he's a beast. Harden. He's a crazy good shooter, he's a crazy good dribbler. He had a triple-double yesterday. Like, he's a stud. You know what I mean? Like, make no ends about it. Like, he's a stud. Kyrie is a stud. What's his name? The other guy. The on LeBron, the second
Durant.
He's a stud, you know what I'm saying? All of them are studs. So I want to see them play the Lakers. That's what I want to see. I want to see them play a team that's championship bound. I think they're going to be nasty. Like once the Nets get their act together and they start playing more games together, they're going to be nasty. They have to by default. They have to be nasty. They have 3 nasty players on their team. So how could you not be? I mean, they're going to be one of the best teams.
They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Do they get over? It's like they're not going to get beat in the first round or second round. They're going to lose either the Eastern Conference Finals or lose in the finals. They're not.
Any team can make it to the playoffs with having those 3 players.
Yeah.
It's when it comes down to like the wire, and when it comes down to championship games, and you're playing a team head to head that's just as good as you. It comes down to any given any given Sunday.
It'll be adversity. It'll be how much adversity can they face when they're facing teams that are just as good as them.
Yeah, but the fact that they have like a basket case on their team, like Kyrie,
that's going to be.
Who knows what he's going to do in the third game of a series? He's going to, like, who knows? He's going to go and like start doing what he did recently. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. I don't know if he has like seriously mental illness. I don't know what his deal is. Like, I don't want to make fun of him because I don't know what's wrong now at this point. But I hope he's well. I don't know. I don't follow him enough to know. I know he thinks the earth is flat too, which is interesting. So yeah, Kyrie to me is not all there. He's a little bit crazy. You know what I mean?
All right.
And as far as the NBA, I'll end with this. The NBA to me is boring as hell.
Well, the first 2 rounds of the playoffs are pointless. Like, it's just a waste.
Yeah.
It's sweeps, and that's it.
I'm just a little bit excited for the Nets because I like watching. There's a team that's an hour away from me that I can go watch games. That's an hour away from me that has like three All-Stars on it, 3 Hall of Famers. So it's not very often that you get to see Hall of Fame players play.
The NBA also, like, watching a game, the last 2 minutes take about a half hour, so it's
I saw Eli play football a lot, and he was a Hall of Fame. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, so
Yeah, but like how often do you get to see Hall of Famers? Unless you're a selfish Yankees fan, you know what I mean?
Cheater.
Selfish man. All right, let's go on the NFL before he gets any more sour about this. So the NFL. So little NFL news. So first we have the Jets hired. I'm going to say his name wrong again. I've done it every time. Robert Saleh. You said Robert
Saleh. You got
Saleh as the new head coach.
First Muslim coach.
5-year agreement. He was the San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator. This was a highly competitive thing because a lot of teams were interviewing him and were interested in him. So thoughts on that? I mean, he's a defensive coordinator. Is that what he needs? Like, what do you guys think?
So as the Giant fan, I'm gonna start first. I'm gonna wind up asking Steve a question. First of all, I think it's a good hiring. I love that he's the first Muslim American coach to be hired. That's awesome, groundbreaking.
I don't really care about that. How about you be the first coach to actually be good in the last 20 years? How about that?
For the Jets? Well,
yeah.
Hold on.
I don't care what you are. I don't care what nationality you are. Just win the goddamn game.
I agree with you with nationality, but I want to. It's a big deal, though. That's a big deal. But I know you want victories. Yes, you don't just want stats. You want victories. So anyway, I just said, first of all, he looks like a guy who should be coaching in North Jersey, like at St. Joe's, like compared to the MetLife. I don't know. When I first saw him, he looked like a high school coach to me. That's not knocking him. He just looks like he has the high school demeanor. I don't know.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Great background, the defensive minded note. But here's where I go. I'm going to go down. Steve, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to read you a list, and then I ask you a question, okay? Here's the list. I'm going to list a bunch of names. Bill Parcells. Al Groh. Remember Al Groh?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 year he coached the Jets. That was it. Herm. We all remember Herm. Mangenius. Remember when he was on The Sopranos too, Steve? For that quick second, they showed his face.
Mangenius on The Sopranos?
Yeah, he was sitting in the restaurant with
Mangenius.
Hey, it's the Jets coach, honey. Then you got Rex. Then you got Todd Bowles. Then you got Gase. And then you got now Salah. Besides Gase, what do all those guys have in common, Steve?
What
do they all coach?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. They're all defensive coaches.
They're all defensive guys, right? I looked it up too just to make sure. They were all defensive. I knew Parcells was, obviously.
Rex was a great defensive coach.
Yes. So he's the greatest coach ever. He took you to two. You got 2 flags up for those AFC Championship game appearances.
No one's hyped up fans like Rex.
No, I agree. But yeah, you got 2 flags. You got 2 banners from his AFC Championship games. Yeah, but anyway, here's my question. I know Jets just failed with an offensive-minded coach, but the last 2 decades, all they've hired is defense. And I'm not saying this guy's going to be a bad coach. We don't know. Time will tell, as they say. But do you think they always go with Jets defense too much? Should they have gone with an offensive guy like Bieniemy? Is that how do you say his name, Paul? Bieniemy?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question, honestly.
Do you think they should have gone defense? And again, they've gone defense again. It hasn't worked for 3 decades now, 2 decades. It didn't work in the late 90s, 2010s. We're in the 2020s now. I'm not saying this guy could be the guy that takes you to the promised land. This guy could take you to the championship, finally. But
I mean, listen, he's not taking the Jets to the Super Bowl next year. So that's
no. I mean, in the next 5 years, is this a good move or a bad move? What do you think? Being that he's defense again.
I don't know. I'm not really basing the move based on that, but. If you ask me, would I rather have a good offensive coach or a good defensive coach? I'd rather have a good defensive coach because defense is harder than offense, quite frankly.
But you haven't won 3 decades with great defensive coaches, allegedly.
I think that's irrelevant. We need a quarterback that could just get it, just do it without having to be coached.
Yeah, but every young quarterback needs to be coached.
We don't need to hire someone based on him like being like a quarterback whisperer. Like we need someone to come in and be able to like learn the plays without having to be like coddled like Darnold is. Darnold is still like an infant. Give me Deshaun Jackson every day of the week. Deshaun Jackson is ready to go. Like he'll come in there and he'll learn the plays and be ready to go. Like he doesn't need a coach to be like, okay.
So I want to jump to that because that was the next news was Deshaun Watson.
Watson, sorry.
You really don't care that he's defense or offense?
I mean, to me, I think a coach should be able to coach defense and offense. So that to me already is fugazi. You know what I'm saying? Like you should be able to coach both of them with no problem if you're a true head coach.
You think
But
Belichick coaches the offense in New England, or is he just defense? He does it all, right?
I'm sure he does it all. You kidding me? Belichick is gonna want to do everything by
He's a
himself.
micromanager
But,
too.
you know, just because you're a defensive coordinator, just because this guy's a defensive coordinator, doesn't mean he doesn't know anything about offense. I mean,
Yeah, like I'm sure that he's gonna have his hands a little bit in the offense.
I mean, Coughlin was an offensive guy, but he had great defenses on the Giants, so I guess it doesn't matter. Wasn't Pat Shermer? What was he? Offense? Not that. That's a bad example.
Pat Shermer was offense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and look at the Giants' offense; it was horrendous.
Pat Shermer.
Sure.
I'll take offense over. I'll take defense over offense any day. You know.
I mean, you go in defense, you go down that well a lot. I'm not critical. This guy could be the guy. You never know.
Yeah.
But
quarterbacks, quarterbacks in theory could run the offense. You know what I mean? Like Peyton Manning was the offensive coordinator for all intents and purposes. You know what I mean? If you're a good quarterback and you have your shit together, then you can be the offensive coordinator for what it's worth. You know what I mean? Right. Defense, it's you got to start the other team. You gotta there's a million different plays that you gotta look out for. All the hardest positions are defense, like cornerback, line, defensive end. Like those are all the hardest. Except for quarterback. Quarterback's probably one of the hardest ones, but all the other ones are defense.
And so, Paul, let that bleed into the other news.
Yeah. So our next news with the NFL was Deshaun Watson. So it came out last week that he's unhappy with the management of the Texans over the last few years. I think we all know why. I mean, it's a shame what's gone on there in terms of the coaching and all that. It seems like he's looking to be traded. It's important to note he hasn't publicly demanded a trade. These are just like leaks and sources that are coming out from people who are close to him. And he never actually said he wants to be traded. He just said he's very unhappy. That's actually the report. So if you listen to the sports radio, they've kind of misinterpreted that. That's not what he actually said. But he does have a no trade clause. So he does have some leverage in terms of where he goes if they are going to trade him, because he might just say, I'm going to sit. I'm not going to play unless you trade me. Although the Texans don't actually have to trade him. Like I just said, he was one of the best quarterbacks this last season in 2020, ranking second in yards per game, third in completion percentage, fourth in lowest interceptions, and fifth in rushing yards. Right up the number, we went right up the number stats there. Fifth in rushing yards. NJ.com reported yesterday or 2 days ago that right now the Jets and the Dolphins are the leading contenders. And I heard someone else, Jets and Dolphins. And they were just talking about it on the radio today. Those are the two leading teams right now if he was to go somewhere. So what are our thoughts? And I mean, I know as a Giants fan, I would want to take Deshaun Watson. So but I don't know if the Giants are feeling that way.
Well, the Dolphins do it Tua if they got Deshaun.
I guess ditch him. I mean, maybe I don't know.
I thought he was the future for the Dolphins. Am I missing something? I thought he was the future.
I know the reason. I don't know about the Dolphins. I know the reason why the Jets are leading contenders. They have that second round pick, so they ditch Watson and pick another quarterback. But it's not going to be Trevor Lawrence for the Texans, at least. I mean,
I think Deshaun to the Jets is a great move. Is a great move. I would love that. I mean, that would energize the fan base. It would make me very happy. I don't know where Donald's going to go. I don't know where Tua is going to go if the Miami gets him. That's maybe we can get Tua. I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that, because there's a few different scenarios that could happen.
Tua had a decent. I mean, now he was hurt a little, but the Dolphins weren't terrible. Oh, they had Fitzpatrick too, though.
But
Fitzpatrick played the majority of the season, so that really last year wasn't Tua's season. That was Fitzpatrick's season.
The Hall of Famer Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Listen, I'll give a case to that on why he can be.
Another day.
Last week.
What's that?
I said he said that last week.
That's gonna be an episode one day. Don't worry.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I don't know. Is Deshaun Watson really on the market, or is this just some ploy? I wonder. Is he trying to get more money? Like, what is he? Maybe.
I know. I think if I was him, I'd be pissed. Wouldn't you?
It's a well-known fact that
O'Brien was terrible. He was the coach and the GM. Last year, they gave away every piece they had. They have no future. They gave away all their draft picks. They gave away DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, they traded DeAndre Hopkins. So, yeah, if I was him, I'd be pissed, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that's his best talent right there. So, yeah.
They gave away that team was so poorly mismanaged that the one time I will sit here and say that, yeah, I think he does. I do get annoyed when these players are like, oh, like, okay, it's not your place to complain but honestly, that team, it's everywhere. It's all over the news, sporting world. Like everyone says it. That team has been poorly mismanaged, and he just had a career year. Like,
yeah,
and it stinks.
You guys heard the report that JJ Watt apologized to Deshaun for wasting a season, basically.
Yep, I heard that.
That's a great move by JJ Watt, American hero.
And JJ Watt probably freaking did that shit and then leaked it to the press. He's like, hey,
correct.
Hey, did you hear that JJ Watt said this about?
I agree with that.
Stealth promoter, if I ever saw one in my life.
I mean, I do think he's a good person, but I think he's a little
good person, but he's a self promoter, and he's what's the word? He's a humble bragger. You know what a humble bragger is?
Yes.
Yeah. That's like me being like, oh wow, premium unleaded gas for a Porsche is so expensive. Like, oh, I got a Porsche. Shut the fuck up.
All right, Paul.
I would love to get this on.
Let's go to that last bit of news.
Okay, the last news that I know, Mark is chomping at the bit. He was in the group chat.
Hold on. Before you get to it, I have a song. Hold on.
Oh, no. Oh, Jesus.
This is crap. This is Boyz II Men.
And actually, Paul, I'm going to take over the update. That song is dedicated to the careers of Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees. Their careers are over. And I just want to point out one thing. Sorry, Paul, I'm hijacking your update.
No, it's all you. Have it.
I just want to point, and I wasn't planning on this. The song was planned, obviously. I had it queued up on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. But hijacking your update is
infringement, bro. We're done.
What's he saying?
He's getting mad. He's getting mad already. He's
getting mad. We should have a Steve gets irritated. We gotta have a Steve irritating media when he gets like a 10. Show his face like but anyway,
he's gonna sue us.
Hold on. So I checked that update to tell you that the careers of Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers are over.
You're paying for it.
I'm gonna throw them some compliments first.
He's still going.
Hall of Famers. They really are. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. They are. But I am gonna point out one thing, people. And to all my folks listening at home, both of them combined have less Super Bowls than Eli Manning. And did you hear the story, Paul? Eli and Phillip Rivers were at like a dinner at the quarterback club in New York City like last year. No, it was like a week ago. I don't know how they had it with the social distancing.
I didn't hear this.
I'm making it up, but pretend it happened.
Oh, okay.
But Phillip Rivers was talking, and Eli Manning said, What? I can't hear what you're saying because I have my two Super Bowl rings are plugging my ears. All right. Eli's got 2 rings.
Eli would be stupid enough to put rings in his ears.
Right. It would never really happened anyway. I'm just making it up. But let me just say something, people. Phillip Rivers had a great career. He's a Hall of Famer, just like Eli, just like Ben from that class, just like Drew Brees. They're all Hall of Famers. But Phillip Rivers will always be known as the guy. First of all, a team moved out of a city because of him, San Diego. They don't have a football team anymore. Poor little kids grow up in San Diego, that beautiful city, with no football. They have the Padres, which is great, but they have no football.
California has like freaking 40 professional sports teams.
But in the city of San Diego, they have nothing. And that's because Phillip Rivers couldn't get them
cool weather. So
let me point out something else, Mr. Steven. In Phillip Rivers' career, he only won 5 playoff games. He has more kids than playoff game victories. He has 9 kids, Steve pointed out to me the other day. So Phillip Rivers goes down as a guy who had a great career, but he couldn't win the big games. 5 playoff victories to Eli's 8. And 2 of those 8 are Super Bowl champions. So I'm not knocking Phillip. Big Philly's a good guy. He's a great player, but he didn't win a Super Bowl. And at the end of the day, as a fan, I'm taking a fan's perspective here. A lot of people are getting at me on Twitter about this. All 5 of them. They were saying, oh, you're comparing Eli to Phillip Rivers. I can hear my college roommate. He was like, how you comparing them to Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees? I wasn't saying Eli was better. I was just pointing out that as a fan, Eli did more for the Giants than those guys did because they won Super Bowls. He won Super Bowls. They didn't.
All right, now let's talk about what it should be about for the Hall of Fame, which is just straight up stats.
Here we
Because,
go.
I mean, if fans had Super Bowl votes, I mean, had Hall of Fame votes, which they don't, that'd be a different story. All right, so let's go. All right, so Brees, he's a one-time Super Bowl champ. We know this.
Hey, we know that.
But he's an all-time passing leader, right? He has over 80,000 yards. Okay, for comparison, Philip Rivers has 63,440. All right. Eli has 57,000. All right. Drew Brees. All right. Second all-time touchdowns thrown. Okay, with 572. That's a lot. Second. All right. Philip Rivers has 421. Eli 366. Yikes! All right. Drew Brees. Wow. Drew Brees. Wow. 13-time Pro Bowler. It's amazing. Philip Rivers 8. Eli 4. I mean, just Eli is clearly the least qualified quarterback of every quarterback that we've talked about. The only saving grace that he has is his 2 Super Bowl wins, which is great. As a Giants fan, God bless you. You know, go Giants. You know what I mean? But
once again, you're missing the
Hall of
point.
Fame wise, not as good.
Okay, fine. But
Hall of Fame is not about Super Bowl.
Once you get in the hold on, Paul. Once you get in the Hall of Fame, that's all that matters. Eli's going to get in the Hall of Fame with them, and deservingly so. I'm talking again from a fan perspective. As a fan, okay, I'm going to make a comparison. I'm a hockey guy. Henrik Lundqvist, 2005, 2020, great Ranger. Zilch with Stanley Cups. And the goalie is like, in a way, the quarterback of the NHL. Well, I know it's a defensive position, but still, it's that importance, right, of a quarterback. He didn't win any. I love Henry. I went to 1 million games, watched 1 million. It's humble bragging. Sat 3 rows. Look what I sound like. I sat 3 rows back from the Garden a lot of times and saw him play. Beautiful time watching him play. Loved Henrik. Paul, you admit that, right? We had a good time watching him play. Some big playoff wins, some losses. My point is, Henrik goes down as a guy that couldn't bring the Garden a cup. And to me as a fan, that's all I care about. I don't care about Vezina trophies. I don't care about MVP trophies. He didn't win a championship. He's a Hall of Famer, Henry, I'm pretty sure. I'm not a big hockey guy as far as the history, but I'm pretty sure he goes in the Hall of Fame of the NHL. But as far as a fan perspective, he didn't get me the big one. Good memories, but not that special memory of that.
If you're a player, if you're a Mark Marino, professional athlete, would you rather have I don't know, pick a sport. What sport would you play?
I'll just say baseball because I played it in high school.
All right. Would you rather have a World Series ring or would you rather be in a Hall of Fame?
World Series ring.
Okay.
If you're a fan, would you rather be the Chargers fan who has a quarterback with great regular season stats and might go to Hall of Fame, or the quarterback who got you 2 Super Bowls, like a Giants fan? Like, whoa, what a terrible point you're making.
Yeah, and also they were like,
as a player, if I'm a baseball player, I'd rather be in a Hall of Fame than have a World Series.
Selfish.
We're talking from the Mark's right, from the fan. I can't I'm defending Mark, but from the fan perspective.
And another thing, they kept saying,
stop. Not as a fan perspective, all right? As a Giant fan perspective, nobody gives a shit about Eli's 2 Super Bowls.
Would you rather be a Giants fan or a Chargers fan right now? Would you rather be a Chargers fan or a Giants fan right now? What would you rather be?
I mean,
you read. Come on. Oh,
Steve, you're ridiculous now. Come on. And
I have another question.
Cracked me up.
I have another question to Mark's point about how the Chargers left San Diego. You live in San Diego, and it's like late September, and it's Sunday afternoon at 1:00, and it's like 80 degrees out. Where would you rather, in a sunny day, where would you rather be, sitting in a football game or on the beach? That's why they left San Diego. Who's going to the football game?
Yeah, San Diego
doesn't
need a football team. You know, they don't need a football team, San Diego.
Here's my thing. They kept saying he was the best quarterback in San Diego history. A big deal. Oh, Stan Humphries was an Hall of Famer. Ryan Leaf. I mean, come on. Okay, good. That's like saying you're the best, baseball player at the first team that ever existed. Like, of course you were. It's ridiculous. So San Diego, I mean, Phillip Rivers, yeah, cost the team a city, a team. Poor kids in San Diego will never get to see, poor little kids in San Diego will never get to see a team play there because of him. He couldn't win a Super Bowl. So goodbye, Phillip. Great career, but you didn't win the big one. Paul, want to wrap up the show?
Have fun with your 9 kids.
Yeah, he's going to be busy in retirement. I heard he's going to coach high school football. Talk about a hillbilly.
Yeah.
I'll go coach some high school football. Maybe I'll finally win a championship that I couldn't win.
Yeehaw.
I go, y'all want to win? Put Booby in. All right, before we end, Paul, can you make me the host for a minute so I can share our screen of all our updates of things we have to contact us? Or is that not allowed?
I don't think I could do that.
All right. So anyway, I'll just read it off and then we can put it up somewhere. We'll put it on the bottom of the YouTube page.
Yeah, we'll put it on. Yeah, right.
You guys know our emails, 2dudes@2drinks@gmail. We have a Twitter handle. Start following us. I'm getting a little lonely with the followers. We have an Instagram. We have a YouTube page. Please subscribe. And you can also download our episodes on buzzsprout.com, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Did I miss anything there, Paul?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, guess what? That was a good update episode.
It was
and it turned into a little bit of a debate. Me and Steve get heated over this Eli thing. It's funny. It's funny. So next episode, we will revisit some of the Eli feedback. And do you want me to tell them what the next episode is, Steve? Or should I not tell them?
Yeah, we'll leak it out.
Leak it out? All right. I was going to tell them. That'll be in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Stay tuned. Follow us.
I'm Marino. That's Steve. Update guy Paul. Thank you for joining us today. See you next time.
Follow us.